Alright, so before we continue on making the copper zinc battery, I wanted to quickly remake make Ema's lumberyard, and then also remove the sinkhole consuming tar at the lead outpost. Let me show you. It's really affecting my aromatics, which affects my zinc ore and my zinc plate production. Alright, so I realized some time ago that there is a sinkhole here consuming tar, and it's active. So if we remove this, we should have increased tar production, which means increased aromatics production, which means increased zinc ore, which means increased zinc plate. These changes won't be reflected immediately, but we will revisit them in a second. Okay, so if we check in the production chart, if we go to tar, I guess the tar production hasn't changed, but now if we check aromatics, this should have dramatically increased. There we go, from about 167 to 500 something. So that's like four times increase, which is a little less than 4 times increase, fourfold increase, which is crazy. But next up, we want to check out the zinc ore, which we can see, followed something similar from 43 to 100. So 3 to 4 times. And lastly, zinc plate. I'm not sure if zinc plate has been reflected yet, simply because it has such a journey to travel from here all the way back to the base. We should also check if the line still makes sense. But otherwise, here we go. I have gone ahead and labeled Ema's lumberyard. So Ema, you've finally been immortalized. John Boy, you are here in teal and awesome. So thank you guys again for your support. Okay, so I'll go ahead and mark these as done. There we go. They were marked as done. And then also, while traversing my YouTube comments, I've learned that there is a more efficient way to do burner mining setups. There's a more compact design out there. So I will transition my iron ore, copper ore, and my raw coal to those designs soon. Okay, so I've gone ahead and redesigned it. Like the YouTube comment said, having the ash and coal come in on one line, while having the iron come out on the other line, and it's seeming like it's a lot more compact than my other design. So let me go ahead and test this and then port it over to the other world to see how much more compact it is. Alright, so here's the full test. So what's happening here is that we're using underground belt mechanics, where if you enter or leave an underground belt, it only takes half the line with it, right? So we are going to leverage this mechanic in our build here while we do the full test run. So the raw coal comes in, it only loads onto 1/2 of the line, and then it spits the ash out back into the same belt, but on the other side, and that side, the ash gets taken away. So let's go ahead and see this in action, see if it works. Yeah, so all the ash will go all the way to the end, then it'll come back out. And this is much more compact than what we have currently. So let's go ahead and give this, let's go ahead and put this in our real world. Alright, so for like the 4th time in this playthrough, we're going to tear down the iron mine and replace it with something new. So we are going to go from 28 mining drills to this, which turns out is only 27 mining drills, so I lost a mining drill, which means this is less compact. Well, I guess my build was already compact. It's the same one that the copper is using right now, except for the fact that it's still being powered by inserters. You know what? It looks more compact. I mean, look at this compared to this. This looks more compact in my eyes, but I guess it's not. It's kind of weird. Well, I mean, I already did all this work to make it, so I might as well just plug it in and see how it functions, and then just keep it. It is a little disappointing, though, that it did not increase my throughput at all. So let's just give it a second to get up to full speed. Alright, so it turns out it settles a little bit more iron ore than it was previously. which is a little weird. I think I probably just shifted some of the miners onto patches of iron that weren't that weren't being mined before. But the other thing is that with this method, as opposed to the one we have over here, we lose a whole line. So this covers everything, right? So it covers one here and one here. This one covers one here and one here, but it misses these two spots here. So these two spots are not getting mined forever. So despite this being more condensed, it doesn't actually mine the entire copper field. Same with here. The iron ore is now being fully mined, as to earlier when there were strips of it not being mined at all. So I think I will go ahead and convert the copper and the rock coal, well, I guess, and the stone as well, to this new mining strip so that we could ensure that we are mining the entire patch. Okay, so copper is going to turn from this, which is 49, to this, which looks pretty good. It's increased to 58. I don't remember what the first number was. I thought it was 49? 49 to 58, if we increased by 9, that is a pretty significant increase. Also, again, bonus for the fact that we've got full coverage of the copper ore now. All that's left is to plug this in and see if it works. And there we go. Copper ore is fully up and running. We should cut the main source off here and cut this source here until all our copper ore and other burnable materials run out. That way we can you know, make sure these chests disappear at some point. Up next is stone. Okay, stone might be a little bit harder, but it's gonna go from this to this. Alright, stone done. Last but not least is rock coal. Feels weird to do for rock coal, because the rock coal output is the same. I mean, we'll have to feed the rock coal back to the rock coal, but my current design misses a line of rock coal in the center here, and I don't like that. And I guess I don't want to spend too much time redesigning, so we'll just use the same method we've been using for all the other burner setups. So we're going to go from this to this. You might be wondering why there's a weird rock coal thing here, like why did I divert 4 miners to output over here when all of the rock coal kind of comes out anyway. This is because at maximum speed, all the rock coal was going in here, right? So there was a full line of rock coal going down here, but the miners do consume some rock coal. So at the end, we were getting some rock coal, some holes in the rock coal. It wasn't a full belt. That's why we have diverted a couple of the miners to kind of make a buffer to make sure that whatever is missing from this line, we will get from this line. But also the rock coal feeds into itself so that this is a self-sustaining system and it shouldn't cause us any problems in the future. So this has been rock coal. Alright, so let's go ahead and quickly check this off the list. Make those green. Oh, green. Those are green now. So this was the upgrade burner mining setups with more compact designs. They aren't actually more compact. In some cases we gained some miners, some cases we lost some miners, but the main point was to cover the entire ore patch instead of having some pieces unmined. So all the ore patches are now completely covered so that we don't have to worry about uneven ore mining in the future. So next up, like we've been wanting to, I will focus on getting the first component of the simple circuit board, the first of 7, the copper zinc battery. So let's look at cellulose. Alright, so this is my copper zinc battery setup. I've decided to design for 0.5 simple circuit boards per second. That's just because of the sheer number of buildings this would cause me to have. So I wanted to do 1 per second, but then for copper zinc battery I would have needed 20 washers, 10 soil extractors, 10 high pressure Furnace, which was just more than I wanted to do. So I cut it down to 1 every 2 seconds. So anyways, this is the copper zinc battery. It takes 5 inputs: wood, zinc, ore, copper ore, stone, and just a fuel. And it makes 1 copper zinc battery every 10 seconds. So we can briefly look, if I zoom in here, how it works. The wood goes up and around and is fed into the high pressure furnaces and is combined with limestone to make cellulose. And the cellulose goes directly into the copper zinc battery. Same with the zinc and copper plates. The wood is mixed with water in these washers to make saline water. And then the saline water is pumped directly into the copper zinc battery. The fuel line is simply to just power the assembler, and then we have the ash coming out as well. The ash on the near side. So we'll have ash and the copper zinc batteries flowing out. Alright, you might be wondering, like, what's going on over here? Like, why are there, inserters feeding inserters, right? This is again because high pressure furnaces are getting an update. They actually already got the update. I just have to update my game where the footprint has changed from a 5x5 to a 7x7. So I'm preparing for that by accounting for that space. So that's my copper zinc battery. Now just gonna have to blueprint it and then send it into my world. The next important question I have to answer is where exactly I'm gonna put the copper zinc setup, right? And basically, where am I gonna build my simple circuit board 1? There's limited space left on this starting island, and I thought I had more space, but it turns out these buildings are kind of big. I think I kind of want to bring the bus up and around and connect it up with this main bus. Ideally in the future, we could expand up north or again to the east. There's a lot more open space in the east, so that's where I think I'll consider expanding to. Also, for the time being, expanding east means I can make use of this space above and below this main bus that I have. So I think the plan is to drag the bus up to the right, down, and then to the right here. And I can leave, I can leave plenty of this space, leave it open for port space. There's no use to, fill up the entire main island immediately. So again, let me go ahead and take this. This bus is super wide, and it'll probably continue to be very wide, so I'll probably give it a hefty amount of room and stick it all the way like up here, like this. Oh, I wonder if that placed. And there we go. So I will go ahead and start building this, and drag the bus back around. Yeah, so I really hate separating the inputs and outputs of a furnace area, but I think the zinc plate, there's no point in dragging all the ores down and then back up again. This entire gap will just get filled up with belts. So it hurts me to put them, like a bunch of inputs and outputs here and then have another set of outputs here. But I think the best choice is to just drag the zinc ore up and to the right. Alright, the copper zinc battery area is all built, and earlier I was trying to figure out how I wanted to pull the ores out, but it's come to my attention that jaw crushers have been updated. The jaw crushers have been updated so that they no longer need simple circuit boards. There's also a difference now in how you make steel, but the important part, now that I have access to jaw crushers, okay, it seems like there are technologies. The important part is that with jaw crushers, we're now able to make processed iron ore, and I believe we have technology for processed copper ore as well, to turn the iron and copper ore into processed versions of themselves to increase the output. Let me bring up an example. So here's the comparison. So if I want to make one belt of iron plate, it's going to take me 120 iron ore per second. But if I use the jaw crushers, it'll only take me 75 iron ore per second. Of course, I need 30 jaw crushers, but the yield increases by 1.6%. I mean, it's not exactly double. 75 from needing 120 to needing 75. It's a pretty significant difference. So, and then we could also see what the difference is for copper. Okay, well, I don't have the technology for copper right now, so If I want to do the copper plate one, I'd have to unlock this first. I imagine it's about the same ratio. But right now I was kinda stockpiling iron, so I wanted to use it, so I've started researching basic crafting speed 4. Um, but yeah, let me go update the game, fix all the high pressure furnaces in the base, and then kind of upgrade my iron ore setup. Also redo steel. I hear that steel has been redone as well. Alright, so I was successfully able to update all my mods, and the first thing I have to do is go ahead and find every single high pressure furnace in my map and change it, because as promised the footprint has changed from a 5.5 to a 7.7. We can do this by using factory search to find high pressure furnace and just clicking entity, and using this we can see where every single one is on the map. So I'm going to go ahead and fix all of those first thing. Plus, now I can enjoy this brand new animation. Okay, so it looks like I misdesigned these because they don't fit. I must have designed for like a 6x6 or a 7. I don't know, just not the correct size, because this is not fitting where it's supposed to. Alright, so this is actually such a wrench in my acetylene production here that if I can't fix it in a couple minutes, I'm probably just going to delete this whole thing and let it go. Again, this was temporary acetylene production. I have main ones here now, so I think I'll just make the call now. I will just let this go. And there we go, cleaning up the last of the original acetylene production. Alright, and I'm almost done with adjusting the high pressure furnace footprint changes. The main acetylene production is on hold for a second because I moved the lime recipe into concrete for some reason, so I have to research that first. Otherwise, I can do a quick check to see if all the high pressure fire are accounted for. That one is good. This one is not good. Again, I have to redo that whole thing. This is good. Same with this is good. And right here was here. Those are gone now. So, yep, just got to finish the research, and I should be all good with most of the high pressure furnace changes. Now that I'm looking at this, I think there's a big design flaw. I don't think this bottom high pressure furnace ever got any lime. Okay, so I've moved some inserters around, and now the lime is going on this side of the line and feeding both of these, so we should see this producing acetylene soon. I think this is fixed for now. We will fix the top one, then we'll monitor the acetylene production to see if this is fixed the issue. Alright, so I did a lot of redesigning here, more than I intended to. It turns out there was a huge bottleneck involving all my long weird inserters. So as you can see here, I mean, I love them to death, but they extend and they're really slow, so I've decided to go ahead and remove those and use compact loaders instead. And this will be the test run to see if because this was originally designed to consume a whole full belt of rock coal, and now we will see if it goes ahead and does exactly what it was supposed to do. Okay, so it seems like even as I fill these up with rock coal, this whole entire line is still moving. So I believe this means that I had designed it correctly in factory. Again, I don't think factory planner lies to you. It should have been able to consume a whole line of rock coal at a time, and now it is. So let's go ahead and see how this affects our acetylene production. Well, in a surprising turn of events, our acetylene production has gone down. I did block off one whole area here, but it is consuming all the rock coal at once, so I mean it should be the same net output. Well, I guess it's not exactly true. We did remove a whole acetylene production. We did remove the acetylene production within the old lead outpost just because it was too inconvenient to reconfigure everything. But again, this is consuming a whole belt of raw coal, so it should be running at max right now. and I don't see any inefficiencies. So we were looking to repurpose a full belt of raw coal that was headed towards the base. So I think in the future we can go ahead and repurpose it here by just sending another line of raw coal in ore acetylene production. In other news, my magazine production has dropped to 0 because now they require steel plates and gunpowder, which is a crazy change. So let's see if maybe there's just multiple recipes. No, oh, I can now make it using iron plate, raw coal, and stone, which is good. Okay, so the stone, iron plate, and raw coal is a recipe by hand. The other one, I now need to make gunpowder and combine it with lead plate. I hope gunpowder isn't too expensive. I also don't even have access to it. So, gunpowder. Gunpowder is made from sulfur, coke, and saline water. So it looks like defending myself has just gotten a lot harder. This will have to be the new top priority. Alright, so I just dropped an ungodly amount of changes is because the mod, or there was an update to the mod, and now a bunch of recipes have changed, and now I have laid out all my different priorities. But first, let me write down what I've done. Mod intermission is complete. I will have another one in the future. We did finish saline water and cellulose. Copper zinc battery, I wouldn't say is complete, but in progress because the high pressure furnace size change. This is prep for it, but we'll put that in process. So I guess my next goal here, again, we are now pretty much defenseless. Or we have a big stockpile of magazines, but we're not producing any more magazines. So my first goal should be to start up the magazine production again. I'm deciding where I want to put the new magazine production. I had this whole lead outpost, but now that acetylene production out there is gone and I can't make lead simply out there, I'm thinking about dragging everything back to the base, which means getting the lead ore back to the main base so that I can belt it over to some kind of military area. Which means removing removing the raw coal to the main base, so I could repurpose that raw coal line as lead ore, and then later on I could repurpose that one extra line of raw coal that was going to main base to just redouble the acetylene. But again, main goal, remove the raw coal going to main base, replace it with lead ore, use that lead ore along with my new magazine production to make more magazine production in the main base, and then rebuild the basically make a military area. Oh, hey. Did I say the main goal was to build military science or something? I lied. My main goal is thanking you, my patrons. Thank you.